tell them what we got.
We got a perfect circular synchronization of three minds, one infinite imagination. Our heads together we endeavour to find whether or never we could ever be of the kind that can speak to a room and have it consumed with the fumes of thought provocation. Understand the publication, reject indoctrination till you get my insinuation.
You mean the kids swaying, praying to false foundations while the world feeds them lies?
Yeah, more than swaying, they're betraying logic, so watch it, heed the cries.
We're speaking in tongues, rhythm runs through our veins, and it's leaking from our lungs. We're speaking in tongues.
Speaking in tongues,
Speaking in tongues, rhythm runs through our veins, and it's leaking from our lungs. We're speaking in tongues.
Speaking in tongues,
in tongues. Calligraphy designer, sing, spit or preach. Help to reach my fellow man even in his sleep. Suck the rhythm at your veins, then we spit it on a beat. Literally, literary, shaped this jungle greater than concrete. The words allow to live on in sheets of ink. His subtle hints forever express the way I think. Caveman started with an years later, we still yelling out They started the fire with the sticks and stones. Walls engraved with the history of old. Stories long told, meaning so bold. Mysteries and fables these days are bought and sold. The world's so dumb we all fit into a mold. The world's overrun with a billion lost souls. The world's gone cold, now we all feel numb. So when I address the world, I'm gonna speak to it in tongues.
The once were spoken by warriors.
The words of shamans praised and honored by the commoners.
topographers, stenographers along with this.
Young followers, autonomous in ways anonymous, synonymous with that of the chosen.
Inhomogeneous, androgynous, purveyors of hip-hop's colloquial homogeneous structure, lamenter and indigenous esophagus, lying dead in a sarcophagus.
We're speaking in tongues, rhythm runs through our veins, and it's leaking from our lungs. We're speaking in tongues.
Speaking in tongues,
Speaking in tongues, rhythm runs through our veins, and it's leaking from our lungs. We're speaking in tongues.
Speaking in tongues, Speaking in tongues. Let me lay a lyrical litany upon thee. Most of those who spoken never represent me properly. When it comes to expression, my whole persona is outspoken. Leaders look over shoulders and cringe at voices broken, invoking those in them without a pen to open them and send whatever's in your mind into the ether and pretend that they're listening. That they're listening to the badly astray. I put noses in ashtrays, cause there's fire without smoke here. Better believe it, my dear. Rhetoric, blood of the guns, the funds, the ones that, well, man, we persevere. Speak to it in tongues, the rhythm runs through my veins, busting like an open water main. Predominantly pronounce and pronouns and be puncturing. Bow down in my lines like a coke fiend at a lunch here. Then have lunch again, I'm starving for the spoken word. Curds, word, megahertz, burst, beaten absurd. Like a stepson, Ali, no man, I'm speaking in tongues.
We're speaking in tongues, rhythm runs through our veins, and it's leaking from our lungs. We're speaking in tongues.
Speaking in tongues,
Speaking in tongues, rhythm runs through our veins, and it's leaking from our lungs. We're speaking in tongues.
Speaking in tongues,
Speaking in tongues, rhythm runs through our veins, and it's leaking from our lungs. We're speaking in tongues. We're speaking in tongues, rhythm runs through our veins, and it's leaking from our lungs. We're speaking in tongues.